Afternoon, my YouTube friends. It is 93 degrees in central Connecticut right now. Sunny skies, heating up for storms later. Enjoying a 673 with some haunted bookshop. 17 in the house. It is 3 o'clock in Connecticut, 8 o'clock in the UK. Finally got a widget on my phone that tells me what time it is over in London, because I never know. Artful Codger, good afternoon. Pipeman 123, hello to you. Wharf Valley Boy, good afternoon, mate. We've said hi to Barry Becker. He's enjoying some haunted pirate cake. Eric, blue collar pipe smoker. We've been going back and forth a bit today on the text messaging, as I have with Sarge and Brad and others. John Walker, how are ya? Mr. Let's Play It. Call ambulance. Ambulance. Hello, hello. Thank you very much, Mr. Jobs. Probably hacked that to pieces. So it's been a busy few days. Thursday, of course, was a holiday. Independence Day here in the US. Really hot that day, so we decided to cook our traditional 4th of July cookout indoors. That was nice. And of course, I met up with Pipes and Kayaks and Sarge yesterday, which was, as you can imagine, a fantastic experience. I always look forward to it. Brad drives up from Rhode Island, which is about a 2-hour drive for him. And we had picked a spot on the highway a couple of years ago that's easy for him to find. It's a commuter parking lot. And we met there at 9:30 in the morning. And of course, once you meet up and you start talking with each other, you lose track of time. And we finally decided it was time to get over to Sarge's. And of course, that's when the real fun began. Sarge always has plenty of food. He and Mrs. Sarge, fantastic hosts. So talk about a day that went by like that. It was 5 o'clock before we knew it, but luckily we got a video in. And I took all my camera stuff, but didn't take a video because I was just relaxing too much in the chair that I think I sat in for 8 hours. But great time, really great time. Love getting together with those guys. $44 in the house right now. Not bad for a Saturday afternoon. Tamper Tantrum, how are ya? Sarge had some squash flowers, but he didn't cook them up. We actually cooked up some zucchini, which was to die for. Then, of course, we had our hot dogs, hamburgers, and just a ton of finger food that was too good to be true. Tamper Tantrum, the there's a line of storms coming from your area to Connecticut. And I think between about 5 o'clock and 9 o'clock here, we're going to get hammered. I took a walk outside about an hour ago, and the weather, or the air, is so thick, you almost can't even breathe it. It's that thick. So once the cold front comes rolling through, I think everybody's going to hit the deck. Michelle V 222, my good friend, sorry we missed you yesterday. Pipes, etc., good to see you. Yes, Michelle V 222 is getting bad storms there too. Hello, Italy, great to see you. That's one of the reasons we do this in the afternoon, so that you can join in. Cal Delta Piper, good to see you. Hot in Massachusetts, I'm sure it is. Carving Piper is with us. And what else do we have here? I should have made a list today of things to talk about, but perhaps I'll work some off of the chat. Of course, we're in the middle of the summer, and most of you know that I work from January to like August, nonstop, like an idiot. And then I take September, October, November, December, and kind of spread my vacation time out through those months, so that it really makes the second half of the year, or the last quarter anyway, a lot easier to deal with. So I got to start thinking about vacations. Was already talking to Brad about meeting up in the fall. Hoping we can meet up in Foster, Rhode Island again. Beautiful little town. Maybe do a Halloween tale from there like we did last year. We'll have to see how it goes. And let's see. I've got my rotations all messed up this week because of the holiday. The Friday Savinelli, which I took both of them to Sarge's yesterday, but only utilized one of them. And of course, I took a lot of grief because I had a very dirty pipe. But I do have my Saturday Savinelli, which we are going to load up with some Edgeworth 2007. Great stuff. No reason to be sorry about the rotation. It's all good. Michelle V 222. Haven't been back to the Cape in a couple of years. It's not the same because I don't rent a cottage anymore, or I didn't the last few times I went. The place I had been going to, the woman sold it. And I opted for the motel instead. And it ends up being quite expensive for a long weekend. So as much as I like it, I can spend that money better elsewhere. Derek Hill, good to see you, mate. Your name came up a number of times yesterday. Sarge got a real bang out of his cigar cutter. And you probably saw the one that he got for Father's Day. That was pretty outrageous. Pungo Briar. Brad and I were talking yesterday because Mike, Smokin' Briar, he came up in conversation. And according to Brad, Mike's moving back to North Carolina because the heat in Florida is getting to him. Can't blame him for that one. And I'm the same way. I always said that if I ever did decide to move out of New England, I wouldn't go any further south than North Carolina. And I think I'd have to be in the mountains in North Carolina because I know it gets hot down there in the summer as well. So, Toy Maker Larry, how you doing, my friend? Watched your latest video. Not sure that I finished it, though. You were talking about possibly giving up your channel. We're all kind of trying to figure out where all this is going. And I had mentioned in my last live stream that I'm just going to work on thinking up some new content. Certainly my stories should be safe. So until I can't have a pipe, then I should be all right. But of course, if I can't have one, nobody can have one. So that means we would all be off. So let's hope it doesn't get to that. Because as Sarge said yesterday, you can't find a better group of people than YTPC. 60 in the house. What are we going to shoot for today? Given that it's a Saturday afternoon, I'll take 80 if we can get it. Seem to have trouble keeping my Edgeworth lit. (2007), this should be nice and dry. Pipe time, you're right, it's an adult pacifier. Also call it a piece of furniture. Perhaps a pleasure instrument. Have to come up with some new terms for this. Then, of course, what goes into it is an agricultural product. Was watching Andrew from Hungary today, and he was talking about this as well. And the monetization issue isn't as much of a problem for him. So he was like, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. And I can understand that. But if you're used to getting something from YouTube on a regular basis, and there's a threat of it being taken away, kind of has a different effect on you. Especially the past 6 or 7 months. the revenues had increased for me. So when they did their last axing, I got kind of nervous because one of the things I had hoped for was that extra money would pay for my phone once I retire, because there will be a monthly charge, which I've never had to worry about because the company paid for my phone. So we will see. We will see. I guess Eric is bowing out. Have a great one. Thanks for stopping by. Always good to see you. Dunhill's coming back. Yes, yes. Pungo Briar, I received a baggie full of Pegasus yesterday at Sarge's from Brad. And Sarge had never had Pegasus. So he sampled the bowl, loved it. And I said, hey, Sarge, keep the bag because I got plenty at home. So, yeah, luckily Sarge now is enjoying the Pegasus as well. Great stuff. He was intrigued by the smell of it because he got a whiff when I was smoking it. Oh, Quaker Piper, I'm glad you brought that up. The bacon old fashioned. Been too busy to do a video of the final year of bacon old fashioned. Just to recap, when I originally got it, I said I was going to smoke it for 5 years every 4th of July. Last 4th of July, I took the Kentucky leaf out of it, big, huge chunk of Kentucky, and figured that would be a decent experience, which it was. And I also said, well, that's it, because I'm not going back to lighting up the other stuff that's left over, because I know it's nasty. So this July, I was going to, I guess, destroy what was left in some terrific way, shape, or form. Never got around to it. In fact, I never really figured out how I was going to get rid of it. So that's still in the works. Hey, we'll take all the thumbs up we can get. Georgia pipe smoker. That's exactly what I did. I got a pound of Pegasus, and in the future, that may be what I get along with the haunted bookshop. Pipe Writer, can you sum up the YouTube issues for those of us late to the game? I will try. Going back to when I started YouTube, which was 2011, there were really no issues that I was aware of. Alcohol, tobacco, firearms, drugs. Let's just say that YouTube was less regulated at the time. And a couple of years back, trying to think of when it was. Maybe 3 years ago. there were some word that there was going to be some policy changes, and there were, and nobody really was affected because nobody at that time was, or not a lot of people in YTPC were monetizing their videos. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of people were, and a year or two ago, people started noticing a clamping down on your content is not ad friendly and that type of thing. More recently, they've put out instructional videos about what exactly is defined as not ad friendly. And the parameters that they give you for tobacco can be broadly interpreted, so it's difficult to know exactly, but it came down to instructional videos, promoting videos. Those two were the big ones. But you have to ask yourself, what is promoting? Is just being on camera with a pipe promoting it? I don't know. I don't think so, because not all of my stuff has been demonetized. So we actually had a lengthy conversation about this yesterday at Sarge's, and nobody really knows where this is gonna end up, but I'm sure it's not going to get any better. So that was one of the things that prompted us to start coming up with all different terms for the things that we're not supposed to be doing. And there's a lot of, you could talk for hours and hours on this, because there's a lot of ins and outs. But at the end of the day, we're not the ones that are making the decisions. It's YouTube. So we have to kind of follow what they're coming out with. 84 in the House. We beat our 80. That's decent. Mark Stengel, good afternoon. Quaker Piper. Peace Piper from Israel, great to see you. Hope all is well over there. Pipes and Bees, good afternoon to you. Ohio Piper. Gesso Basso. I think you might have a point there. There are more and more names of sites that will host your videos. Somebody sent me a link to something, Underground TV or something like that, which I spent a little time on it, looking at it. But certainly for, I don't believe that anybody should be promoting violence or hate speech or any of that stuff. But certainly for the cigars, tobaccos, pipe tobaccos, firearms, there should be another place where those communities can go to keep on doing what they're doing, sharing their passions for their particular hobbies. So again, who knows where this is all going to go, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere on here. Yeah, Patreon is an option until they decide to delete the videos, and then that's not going to help you at all. I'd rather look for some kind of long-term solution. So we got to see. Huckman, happy birthday to you. Aging is a funny thing. You have good days, you have bad days. There are some good things about getting older, and there are some not so good things. Speaking of that, my annual doctor's visit is coming up. And I always dread that because being in the business that I'm in, I can give you a million stories about people that have gone for their annual physicals. Of course, they're in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. They go to their annual physicals and they come back and, the doctor has told them they found something terminal or whatever. Or in some cases, the people die right in the doctor's office. That happens somewhat frequently. So I'm always in a much better mood right after I get through that annual physical. So next Friday morning, I have to go for the blood work. And I have to say, at least I feel decent. So if I'm dying, I don't know about it yet. Hello, Greece. Another place I'd love to visit one of these days. Midnight Piper. Yeah. Definitely the worst part of the whole experience. Denmark. Brisk. Great to see you. Iron Brigade Piper. Hello. I'm going to take a guess you're from Germany. What is my all-time favorite blend? Haunted Bookshop, of course. Slovenia. Hey, we're getting a bunch of places from across the pond. Italy. Sutliff vanilla custard. Haven't had that. And where it's a aromatic, it's unlikely that I would get a hold of it unless somebody happened to send it to me, which I don't want. I don't want vanilla custard. No thanks. Hello, Maryland. Definitely not Lane Very Cherry. No. Solani aged burley flake. Great stuff. Uh, where did that go? Where did that go? TX Crafts 1. We actually did a small tribute to Danny Shore yesterday at Sarge's. Made mention of Danny as well as Sue Dunhill for all the stuff she did during that. And I first linked up with Danny whenever it was that he started YouTube. And we exchanged some stuff at that point, and kind of lost track of each other after that point, because both of our channels were growing and we were kind of going in different directions. But yeah, awful, terrible thing, cancer. As I said, he will be missed. He is missed. Yes, Quaker Piper, Sue has been unbelievable. '93 in the house. We are at 31 minutes after the hour. Cal Delta Piper was honored to be able to meet Danny. It's just so unbelievable when you're able to meet up with people that you've gotten to know on YouTube. And I always remember meeting up with Pipes and Kayaks the first time. And it was kind of one of my first meetups. And I was on my way to the Cape for vacation. And I had told them, you know, I'll stop and meet you somewhere in Rhode Island and we'll have a bowl and that'll be it. And as per usual, we lost track of time and spent way longer there than I had expected, but it was the beginning of a long friendship, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. Richard T. Unbelievable. Great to see you on today. Of course, Richard T. goes back to my beginnings as well. Sure, he was on in 2011. Beast Mode Gaming, I'm doing fine today. Thank you very much. Bearded Assassins, our prayers are with you folks out there in California. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about with aftershocks. Scary stuff. When you're talking California and earthquakes, because, and I don't even know if it's true, if there is such a thing as the big one, but they always talk about the big one. And I think if it's anywhere near or related to San Andreas Fault, I think that that is the one that they think is really going to let go big one of these days. Richard T., you're still a youngster. Bacon Backy Day. We kind of talked about that earlier. I never got around to do what I wanted to do with the bacon old fashioned. I really wanted to blow it up with an M80, but the only thing you can get for fireworks in Connecticut is sparklers. And that just doesn't do it for the bacon old fashioned. '88 in the house, 21 thumbs up. For at least the near future, I have a story all ready to go, which is kind of similar to the ice cream freezer story. Totally different subject, though. And I can do that as early as next week if everything works right. We'll have to see how the weather goes and everything else, but I'm ready to go with that. As I had mentioned, I believe it was last Friday night, I'll continue with the Friday Night live streams. They're always a lot of fun, and it's great to get everybody together in one spot and see each other communicating with each other. So beyond that, we'll put some more stories in the queue. And when it gets a little cooler weather out, there's more of a chance for actual videos. But at least for the short term coming up, definitely live streams. TCB lineman Piper, got an outage, gotta go. Take care, friends. Thanks an awful lot for stopping in, and be safe out there. Mr. Let's Play It wants to know what the 860 stands for. And that'll keep me busy for a couple of minutes after I find my next pipe. Ginger's favorite with, we will do Pegasus. So when I first started on the internet back in the 90s, had to come up with a screen name because everybody back then used a screen name for anonymity. And there was a pack of matches on my desk. So that's how I came up with matches. And I use matches everywhere as a screen name. And eventually other people started using it. So when I would log into somewhere and they'd ask for a screen name and I put matches, I'd have to go like matches 1 or matches 2. And when it came to YouTube, I seem to recall saying matches 2, matches 3, matches 4, matches 5, matches 6. It wouldn't take any of them. And I finally got mad and thought, what if I put my area code in there, which is 860, and push the enter button, and it sucked it right up. And then I thought, oh, what am I going to do with a name like Matches 860? I should have come up with something else. But we've made it work for us. That's the story behind 860. Claude Harwood. Interesting. Looks like he's going in a different direction with his videos. And I really can't say anything bad about anyone who decides to do that. You have to go in whatever direction you're going to be the most comfortable in. So it's one of the reasons I figure I can do stories and hopefully not get into trouble. I can still do a video or two each year of a review, knowing that I'm not going to get anything out of it. And that's okay too. Again, gonna have to see where this takes us and what everybody's gonna do. Suffolk Piper UK, thanks an awful lot for dropping by. Always a pleasure to have you. J. Ratchford, Chatham Manor in a Brian Doran. He makes some terrific pipes. Richard T., you want to talk about Zippos, huh? You should watch Cane Rod Piper was talking about his Zippo, and I don't know if he overfilled it and something leaked out or what, but he ended up with a rash right here on his chest. And after going to the doctor a number of times, he finally linked it to his Zippo. And it was the funniest thing when he was telling the story, because if you haven't watched Mike before, he prefers to pull the wick out of the Zippo a little bit further than most. And of course, the more wick you have out, the higher your flame is. And he was telling his story about his rash and everything. And he's like, okay, guys, so you got to be careful with these things. And he lights the thing up, and the flame was like up near his hair. I started laughing. Got to be careful with these things. The wicks are really easy to pull out, or if you have to replace one. I did a video on doing some stuff to your Zippos, and one of them was, I think I did take the wick out and reinserted it. Not that big of a deal. If you have tweezers or needle nose pliers, they'll help to pull the wick up and you can snip it off. But you have to be careful that you don't have too much wick, because you'll have too much flame. Do I buy estate pipes? Estate pipes are what got me through the first 5 years of pipe smoking. And I just bought up every one I could find at junk stores and antique shops. got a lot of free ones when I bought pipe racks, because they put pipes in them for as props, trying to sell the pipe rack. So I still have an awful lot of estate pipes. I've given an awful lot away. Can't beat them. And there are some people that say I'd never smoke someone else's pipe, which, hey, whatever. But there are other people that say, geez, it's such a thrill to enjoy something that someone else enjoyed before you, and to think about that person. Even when you get a ghost in the pipe from whatever that person smoked, it gives you a better idea about that person. It kind of links you closer together. I think it's fantastic, but it's not for everybody. Hey, Thomas from Sweden, great to see you. Glad to have you come in. And we're at 46 minutes after the hour, 81 in the house. Look at a few comments, see if there's anything else I can say. If there isn't, we will wrap it up for today. And then I will get ready for some stormy weather. Dallas Win, I do not use Patreon or other platforms. I've always said I didn't want to go that route, just because. And I'd really like to make YouTube work for me. Now, that may mean that I have to alter some things that I do, but all of this kind of came at an inopportune moment, because I was enjoying a pretty decent check every month, or at least enough to provide some extra spending money. So we'll see what we do going forward. I'm not too worried about it. Worst case scenario is that I got nothing, and I got no channel on YouTube, and you know what? If I'm still alive, then that's a good thing. John Walker, have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us. Dallas, I wouldn't worry about it, at least for right now, because I find it hard to believe that they would take all those videos down from YouTube. Why would you do that? I know that they're making money on most of them, for sure. One way or another, they're making money on them. And there are certainly much worse things that you can watch on YouTube than pipe and cigars. So I don't think we're going anywhere right away. All right, so it looks like a lot of people are jumping off, and I think I will do the same. Thanks an awful lot for joining me today. We will do another Saturday matinee. I'll figure it out and let you know in one of my Friday night live streams. Probably the first Saturday in August, whatever that is. So everybody have a great rest of the weekend, And hopefully we'll catch you next Friday night at Friday Night Live.